What one do you want, Savage?
Black, it's always black.
It's always black. October Red, Savage Dan, Dog Work. What a presser.
What a presser. That was like, we're in an auditorium, that was like watching a film. That was drama from the word go, from when Eddie tried to get involved and Chris had none of it. And then it really, you know what? It didn't need Ade, he's right. No, it didn't need, I remember hosting a couple presses and we're not needed at times. But it was a really good presser. Obviously ended with some drama. But yeah, it definitely whets the appetite. I don't know what we're going to get on Thursday.
The thing is, do you think, and this is what I was sitting down here watching it, I was thinking, does Chris Eubank Jr. genuinely hate Eddie? Because he wouldn't let him speak, he was over-talking him, and I get it, it could be press conference theatrics, but do you think it's real? Do you think he really doesn't like him?
I think it's real, and I also think it's real the other way now. I think Eddie can't stand Chris Eubank Jr.
Well, we've seen what just happened. Well, he was ready to go at it up there himself.
It was a really good presser, and I was kind of impressed with how Eddie handled it, because it's not often you see Eddie put on the back foot by a fighter who says no, we're not hearing you speak.
Yeah,
but
it's not the Eddie Hearn show.
It was a really interesting. That is the word. It is interesting dynamics up there, because there were times where it was quite nice at times, you know, when Nigel Benn was apologising
about that,
and then proceeds to say that my son's gonna knock you out and render you unconscious. And yeah, I just thought it was just one of those presses for the ages. It had a lot of twists and turns.
You know what I will say as well, there's so much to cover because so much was covered. One of the things that was harped on about was the rehydration clause, and it's something that I've had a mini argument about. Look, if it's such an issue, why sign the contracts? Because I think obviously Ben was saying, look, it was last minute, it was kind of sneaky the way you done it. However, you guys still signed it.
Yeah, when it's all said and done, it's something that got signed. Just because it's signed doesn't mean you can't moan about it. Still moan, still make it a thing, make it a talking point. It is a talking point. We know that there's a rehydration clause for this fight that favours Conor in this. However, we also know that he's jumping up 2 weight divisions, so I suppose it kind of evens itself out. But you know, same way Conor will probably get to a point where he says, "Look, I'm jumping up 2 weight divisions." Yeah. That is his version of saying a 10-pound weight limit for the following day. So, comme si comme ça.
Common sense would say, "Yep, okay, £10," but then there's a suggestion. Obviously, it went up to £12. It's not. Look, boxing is boxing, and a pound is a massive difference.
Yeah.
That extra £2, do you think it could have some detrimental effect on the fight itself?
I'm not sure what Chris has been weighing after his weigh-ins.
Yeah, true.
Some people like to put on a lot of weight. Some people find that a little bit too much and a little bit too heavy. 10 isn't probably what he probably wouldn't like to be limited to 10. But he probably won't want to go too far above 10 either. So it's just about how he handles it and how he does the weight and how he feels on a day. And look, it's Chris Eubank Jr. He doesn't answer to anybody. If he doesn't feel like making it, he won't make it. That is probably what the case will be.
Not cheap shots, but it is a press conference. Look, they're selling the fight. The animosity's there. Yeah. What did you think about when obviously Conor opened it with, look, you couldn't even get your dad here. Your dad don't even like you. Don't worry about me being a villain. Look, you can't even get your dad to sit out there and be with you.
Yeah, you got to expect it at this point. It's point scoring. It's get under each other's skin. This is part of the fight, you know, whether people realise it or not. These little nuances here, these little tricks, they can change what that fight looks like. They both pissed each other off a lot today.
Yeah, you could see it. I think that was genuine.
That's it. You can see it. They don't like each other. This has been going on for a couple of years now and past that.
Couple of years, yeah.
So this is something that, you know, they're both itching to get to a conclusion on. We obviously have this rematch clause in there as well. And look, it's not often that boxing spits out one of these rivalries.
True.
And this one has a big storyline.
Generational.
We shouldn't wish this one away. Enjoy it whilst it's here. There's going to be a lot of drama. There'll be more on Thursday, and there'll be more past then. There'll be more in the fight. There'll be more in fight week. There's plenty more twists and turns to come.
You know what I like though? Ben Shalom found his gob. I think when His Excellency called and says, hold on a minute, I can't hear Ben, is he actually there, etc., etc. but he found his voice. He started his little arguments,
Yeah.
a little to-in and fro-in, and obviously he mentioned about the contract and other things.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're a promoter and you're running the show. You know, you are the head honcho at Boxer. You can't sit there and let Eddie kind of run the show. Eddie knows what he's doing. He knows how to run the show and knows how to kind of. He's a front foot fighter, isn't he?
Yeah.
Eddie. You know, you got to get him on the back foot as well. Yeah, he's done this a long time, and with boxing, as you know, with everyone, that we respect the past enormously, more than maybe we should. And sometimes you have to tell big bro, no, little bro's old enough now to fight back. And that's what it was today. And I think Ben did well up there. I think he did a good job of not making it too much about one thing or another thing, and allowing Chris to kind of steer the ship on that side. Chris did 95% of the talking for that side of the table. There's a bit more split on that side. But it was, I was really impressed. That's one of the more enjoyable press conferences I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was entertaining. Like you said, Ade didn't even need to be there. But obviously you've got to be Team Eubank. How does he win? I know he said tune in, etc., etc.
Yeah.
The thing that's really aggravates him is people are using his size instead of his skill. And as a fighter, I get that. That would piss him off. It's like, hold on a minute, it doesn't matter about my size. I'm actually a skilled fighter. Why do you keep on talking about size? What about my skills as a fighter? So you, as obviously Team Boxer, Team Eubank, how does he win?
By the way, I like Conor, you know. I actually do like him. I think he's a good lad.
He is.
But what I will say is size.
The caveat. I like you put that caveat in there.
Yeah, I do. You know what? You know me. I can't help it. I'm a straight talker. I kind of just say what's on my. But
that's why we talk.
I would say not mentioning size would do a disservice to Chris, to be fair. I think size does win fights.
Okay.
And I've seen size do it loads and loads of times. And you know what they say, a good big one beats a good little one.
Good big one beats
that is the saying in boxing. If you are bigger, you have advantages, physical advantages. Whether you can use them is another thing. But he has the weight, natural weight difference. He's the bigger man. You can see it just from when they walk on stage, when they're next to each other. He has the dimensions, he has the experience, he has a lot of things, but he also has more miles on the clock. And he also has things that might play slightly more into Conor's hands. I think if you're Chris, you look to keep this quite long and you frustrate Conor, and you make Conor have to come over his front foot, leap in.
Yep. Overhands.
That's it.
Get out of the way.
You make him have to come and find you.
Yeah.
The moment you don't use your size and physical attributes is the moment you're playing more into Conor's hands anyway. So the size thing, it might not be what you want to talk about, but it's a real thing.
I've got to switch it back. I'm sorry. We've just had the last crescendo. We've got to speak about Joshua Buatsi versus Callum Smith. What
amazing fight. I was going to message Josh today. I'm going to do it a little bit later, actually. Just, like sometimes you've got to let the smoke clear.
Yes, of course.
I think that was one of the best fights I've seen, and it was technically superb.
Yeah, it
was just like, if you know boxing and you love boxing, you watch that fight, you're like, wow. Sitting there in the pocket, it takes balls, it takes the chins that they both showed, the energy. They were both at times done. Not done, but really you could show weakening. They find another gear. If you're gonna lose a fight, I'm speaking for Joshua Buatsi here. Buatsi. Let me get it, Buatsi.
Joshua
Buatsi.
Yeah.
If you're gonna lose a fight, that is how you lose a fight.
Yeah, for real.
When your stock goes up in an absolute war where you just maybe get edged slightly in a couple of rounds. That 119, 110 is shocking. Who knows?
I'll give up trying to...
Don't mention it. There's no point even really talking about it. But I had it 115, 113 to Callum as well. I think it was a really, really close fight. I could watch those two fight forever.
Same.
There are some fights that just make a lot of sense. I could watch them two fight again and again and again and again. I think it was just a fantastic bout.
Shout out to round 6. What's next for Joshua?
That's going to be the interesting one, because it's not like you're not like you were outclassed. It's not like there was much to...
Not like you got knocked out.
Just small adjustments there.
I understand.
Similar kind of adjustments that Bivol would have had to make to Beterbiev. And you go back and you look at where did we potentially lose this fight? And did we fight the right fight, or could we have used our legs more? Whatever it is, he didn't lose it in a way where you have to go and change much. It's just small tweaks.
Small tweaks.
That would probably have given him a better chance of winning that fight. It was every round was close. You know, even the rounds that had turning points where it looks like Callum's getting the better of Joshua, and then Joshua just swings it back,
comes
boom,
in.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. They are so closely matched, and let's not forget how good Callum Smith is.
Yeah,
by
but
the way.
I said this when Joshua, I saw him at obviously the press conference, the UK leg of it. I said, Josh, I can't call this fight.
Yeah.
And Josh said, thank you for your honesty. I was never writing off Callum. I knew it was an evenly matched fight. I don't care. Look, Callum lost to Artur Beterbiev.
Yeah.
He lost to Canelo. He hasn't lost to like nobody's.
I think we probably, as the public, got sucked into thinking maybe Callum's ambition wasn't what it was, and I think it was more the ambition, not the talent. It was more what he's got left mentally. Does he want it? Does he want it? And he showed in that fight that he does want it. And I just honestly, I think fantastic for both of them. For Joshua, now you have a look and see what you don't need to drop a level. I don't think. You know, you fought one of the top light heavyweights there.
No, I agree.
And it was a really, really close fight. You know, one more round and it's a draw. So, in my opinion, one more round is a draw. So it was really close round. So I would like to see him get back out there at a similar level again. I don't think you have to drop the levels. I don't necessarily believe in rebuilds all the time. You don't need to rebuild. That was a good fight. And he had a good performance. He just came up against somebody that had a top performance. That's probably, for me, Callum Smith's best performance. Even better than the one against George Groves. Because I think by that point, George Groves was on his way out.
I've got to ask, and this is the final lot, because there's so much going on. Shout out to Boxer, you're putting on a lot of fights, you're mixing them up with different promoters. This is a joint Matchroom and Boxer. I'm going to talk about the Queensbury and Boxer one. We've got to talk about Richard Riakporhe. We've got to talk about Lawrence Aoli. Lawrence Aoli, former boxer. Riakporhe still with you, jumping straight up to heavyweight after the loss. There's so much to cover. Talk to me about that fight.
What a fight!
Who wins and how?
Last time we saw them together, they were swinging it out in a cinema, and we wanted that since.
You should have done that then, Savage.
Yeah. And you know what? It didn't happen then, and both went their separate ways and had big fights still. But we get it now. And I
strike
think,
while the iron's hot, Savage.
I think that fight now
it's got more.
Is maybe better. Up at heavyweight, I look at both of them every time I see them, and I wonder how on earth they get
made cruiser
inside 14-4. Like how on earth, or not 14-4? Is it 14 stone? 94.
14 stone. Yeah.
I don't know how they make it, and they must kind of drain themselves to make it. I find it really interesting that they both came up short against Callum Smith,
which Dillian White says is the benchmark for both fighters. That's the fight you should judge their potential performance on.
Yeah.
You were saying Aoli got knocked down twice.
I think it's
Richard
different
Riakporhe
fights.
didn't.
I think it's different fights. I think Aoli's awkward style means that is always going to be a very, very different fight. With Riakporhe's looking for the big shot, and I think he didn't let his hands go as much as he should have against
He was
Chris.
injured though. I think he was injured in the fight. This is what I was told by some of his team, and I was sort of like sworn to secrecy, but they said he tore something in the fight.
Yeah,
Listen,
possibly. Yeah, I wasn't aware, but either way, his lack of punching whilst Chris Smith almost punches on autopilot is for me what lost him the fight, the activity. Whereas with,
he wasn't punching.
With Aoli is one of the most peculiar fights I've ever watched. I think I even stopped scoring it after a while. I was like, I don't know what I'm watching.
He just wasn't there.
It was a very strange fight, but still, you know what? Judge had it a draw, and
insane.
I'm not sure how insane that draw was, because I look at the knockdowns that won Chris those rounds. A lot of the other rounds I had Aoli winning, which is actually quite strange. I just thought it was a very strange fight.
You're more experienced than me.
And when I look at these two now fighting each other, for me, it's an answer of who gets there first.
Is it?
Yeah. There really is. Two big punches. Aoli looks powerful up at heavyweight.
He does indeed.
And he's very willing to let his right hand go. And if Richard doesn't match the intensity of Aoli, like wanting to hurt you, not just wanting to touch you, wanting to hurt you with shots, I think that would be one of the major parts in this. I think Richard has to make sure that Aoli feels his power early enough. and take it from there. It's an awkward fight.
It's an
Who
awkward
knows?
fight.
Who
It's an
knows
awkward fight, awkward fighters. But I've got to speak about your boy. You've got David Adelaide going up against your boy, Jamie Takibi. One of them ones again.
This is the part of boxing that I don't like.
I know, and you get Marty.
Yeah.
Look what happened with Riakporhe and Dion Jummer. That was hot.
Yes,
you were vile.
Yeah,
you were vile.
Yeah, I don't like it, do I? Yeah.
Yeah, you were horrible.
It's when it's
like,
when
I'm
it's
not speaking. I'm not speaking. I'm not speaking.
When it's people that I like fighting each other, it becomes a little bit more difficult to have an opinion.
Yeah, I won't ask.
But obviously, look, David's my boy from young. Like, and this is the stance I always take. But I love Jamie as well. You know, like I was chatting to Jamie the other day, and it's boxing. It's good.
But they haven't really got no.
They've got
It's a fight. They're gonna make money.
When we first went to sign Jamie, I phoned David and I said, how good? Obviously, I didn't know much about TKB.
Nobody
I said,
did.
how good is he? And you know David's attitude. He doesn't really rate anyone. He goes, no, he's good. He's good. He actually rated him. And that was like one of the things I remember thinking, you know, David gave you a seal of approval. It just so happens that now they fight each other in a really good fight.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think it's an important fight for both.
Horrible styles. Their styles don't match whatsoever.
Not at all. But I think
that's what makes it better.
Yeah, I think Jamie will try and maybe smother and get close, but it's dangerous. Trying to get close to a puncher is dangerous.
To an explosive puncher as David.
So it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
It's not just a puncher, is he? He's explosive.
I'll do all my talking now because we know in fight week as it gets closer, I'm just not going to talk.
I know you're not. I might just smile at you, get a couple of selfies, and everyone can see how vexed your face is. Listen, we could talk forever. It's been a fantastic presser. So much to cover. We've got this. We've got March the 7th. Then we've got what? This fight, and then obviously Ben Whittaker back out there. There's so much going on. So yeah, shout out to Boxer for getting them wheels in motion and getting us some UK fights.
Yeah, we've got a lot of fighters to serve us now, innit? And luckily we've got massive cards, and we can collab and get on shows with the other promoters. And
no arguments.
That's it. It's best for everyone, right?
We all want to work together. Love it.
People say I'm toxic, and honestly, I don't care.